So I spent some time yesterday and today reflecting on, I guess, like how my life's going right now, and I can say that it's led to like a bit of relief or even like a little bit of positivity. I would describe myself as generally like a positive person, but I'm going through like a lot of negative circumstances, so it can be hard to see the good in things. But I urge you to do so because it's really helpful. So yeah, I had posted a video yesterday about like how I'm like struggling to make mortgage payments, and a lot of you guys responded, which was cool. We got like varying responses: people who related, people who disagreed, people who had suggestions, and it was all appreciated. So thank you for that. I think it was good to hear from people's perspectives because I think at the end of the day, everybody thinks so differently, and nobody really knows what's going on behind the scenes with my life or really anybody else's life. So, I mean, take every bit of advice you get with a grain of salt is what I would say in general, not necessarily in response to the comments. Because there's people in my life who know my situation, give me advice, but if you're just not in the position, of course you'll never know. So you can only depend on yourself. And what I'm talking to you about now is like the introspection that I was able to kind of get from just this experience about talking about this stuff online, because I don't really do this, so it's weird. But it was fun, and I think there was a positivity that came from it. I think in general, when you take advice and you consider where it's coming from, just always know that there might be biases or potential like prejudices that exist in that kind of advice. And none of it has to come from a malicious place. So what I mean is that none of that stuff has to mean that somebody's not looking out for your best interests. But we're all limited based off of our own experiences, whether it's things we've heard from others or things we've experienced ourselves. The fact of the matter is you're going to know yourself and your situations better than anybody else. So get used to making difficult decisions and being used to, I guess, a little bit of discomfort. I think that's why, like, even though in like times like these when, things don't really look on the up and up with like, whether or not I'm going to be homeless soon or I'm making enough money to cover my bills, I know I'll never give up, and I don't have a reason for why. Like, I don't have like dependents or like family that like I see often. So I don't really think I live for anything in that regard where it's all like, oh, this keeps me going. But I just do, and I don't know why. And it's good. I'm grateful for it, so I'm not upset about that. But I think I can only do what I do, and you can too. But it's having a bit of confidence in like your ability to make decisions and choices. A lot of advice I've been given about my situation was like, oh, switch careers. I saw one that was like, be a real estate agent, do this, do that. But at its core, maybe I didn't explain this as well, but not everybody really knows what it takes to like solve my issues, and they shouldn't. But in general, as bleak as things can feel, I'm really close to potentially defeating this. It just feels far away because I can't predict when I'm going to land a job, or I can't predict whether or not I'm going to get laid off, or I can't predict whether or not some of my expenses are going to change with home ownership and whatnot. It's all very up in the air. And when you don't have control, it's obviously pretty frightening. And you begin to have the thoughts that I have, which I still have, right? Like I still think I might go homeless in the near future. I don't know. But I would say just taking a step back, generally like a breather, and maybe not so much counting your blessings, because like we hear that, and I don't know about you, but that doesn't really resonate with me. Like, sure, I can count my blessings, but does that like make me more money? Like, it doesn't, right? So I don't know. I just tend to think a bit more practically. But I think it just comes down to like realizing like what you can control in your life. But beyond that, recognizing the progress that you've made. And I think that is where even sometimes I like don't give myself credit or like forget to do. And it makes me feel a lot worse than I usually feel. I think I had mentioned it before, but I I'm a gaming content creator, so I put out a video every day. I've been doing that for the last 281 days, and I live stream on Twitch. As you can guess, it doesn't make me any meaningful amount of money where I can change my life, but I've been at it for so long, and I know that if you don't give up on something that you're always trying to improve on, you will succeed doing it. The question is just when, just like with everything else. But I recently just had like a really good moment with my community. I'm like really small. I don't really have a following at all. But I did like a community game night, and long story short, I had like a really big turnout. And the only change I made to really make that happen was just like listen to my audience. It sounds like it's a simple thing to do, but when you're just like lost in the sauce, you know, you don't take a step back and take a breather. You think you know what the right thing to do is all the time, but you know, you might just be going about it the wrong way at this time. That's why I like some of the comments that I was getting about like, hey, like make a change to your lifestyle or do this or do that. You know what I mean? Like, I think while advice is helpful and there's things that you can do or things that you can change, making the decision yourself and understanding like where people are coming from, I think are two really key things to moving yourself forward. And even though some people might view like Twitch streaming as a waste of time, I think what's the best about it, even if I never succeed, is that I have agency over my life and its choices in that way. So what does that even mean? A lot of advice that I've been given is like, basically like, you know, kind of put up with it, deal with it. And, you know, I saw one comment that was like, throw your morals out the window, which I think was cool in its own way if I'm being charitable. But yeah, there's certainly things that we can do that help us get ahead. But when you're in a position like this where whether it's financial or there's another circumstance that's preventing you from doing the things you want to do, in my case, it's like being, you know, able to like afford shit. It's really important to feel human throughout the process. And removing yourself from the things you like to do is directly a detriment to the success of that kind of thing. And I'm only able to realize that because of what I've gone through and how I've decided to move based off of the advice that I've been given. So, I mean, your life can suck, but your days doesn't have to suck. And yesterday was a good day, you know? Today feels a little bit better, but my circumstances are the same. So I don't really feel better in general, but I feel better now. And that motivates me to just approach things a bit differently, you know, every day. And just know that I have it within myself to keep going every day and doing what I got to do better than I did yesterday. And that's the key. Like just keeping visibility on your progress, keeping your end goal in mind, but not really getting lost in the sauce of like what's going on. And I get it. It can be hard because I've been dealing with this on and off for 4 years. So it doesn't go away. There's no holiday, there's no event, there's no vacation that just like deletes it. But there are brief moments of respite that I can get, even if I'm not making more money, that just show me that, hey, the culmination of your efforts over time will result in the positive change you're looking for. And it just feels really difficult right now because I'm under the gun and I'm running out of time. And you might be too. But just know that there's always something that you can do about it. So never give up and even make excuses for yourself, right? I reflect on my position. If I were an outsider looking in, you could say some, you know, out of context things like, oh, like, bro should have saved more money or should have had a second job 4 years ago. But obviously things like that are not realistic, right? But it's just your ability to bounce back. And thanks to the moment that I had with my community yesterday, but also the comments that I've been getting, it's been really helpful to know that, you know, other people think that there's hope too. And I think when we're in this together, it's like fun, or at least relatable, and you don't feel so alone. I don't know if you realize this, but my floor is concrete, and that isn't like a struggle thing at all. I was in the middle of changing my floors out to potentially increase like the property value in my home, but I didn't get it done. So my room's a bit echoey now, but I don't know what else there is to say. Yeah, your day can suck. Sorry, your life can suck, but your day doesn't have to suck. So take it one day at a time. Focus on what you can control, and really just take it from there. You know, even if I did in fact go homeless, I know it's not the end of the world, and I know I'll bounce back from it. But the timing of things really suck now, don't they? I mean, I've been laid off too many times. And I've been out of the game too many times too. You know, I'm not perfect. I'm not gonna say like, oh, I'm like giving it my all every single day. But when you can just come out ahead day by day by making progress, I think that's the one thing that keeps me grounded in knowing that no matter what is going on or what I'm doing, things will get better. But it's just the long game. And this game is really long, you know? So not a fan of these circumstances, not a fan of having to solve these problems, and definitely not a fan of being in debt. But at least I'm getting job interviews, and at least I've got skills that can make me money. I just need to work at the right place, or just get more skin in the game, I guess. I don't know. But what are your thoughts? What are you guys going through? Hopefully it's not as bad as what I'm dealing with, but I know there's always someone worse off, or I guess it could always be worse. So at the end of the day, just know that it will get better so long as you make a change, and you have to be the one who's doing that. It's got to come from within, and don't depend so much on other people, you know? There's been times in my life when I was much younger, and I was always looking for the approval to do certain things or advice from certain people, but I don't know. It just feels different when you make the decision yourself. And in times like these where like it feels at least like the sky's falling, I'm still confident, even though I've got to make these mortgage payments and I get no help. And unemployment in Florida sucks. So I can't quit this job that I hate. And I also have a really hard time making money at this job that I hate. So it is what it is, but that doesn't have to be negative. Bye.